everyone, I'm Jay. Welcome to April Feels Day 2020, the first ever online edition. This year's theme is school spirit, so I'm very fortunate to have here where I'm quarantined. My EHEAD shirt, it's maroon, it's Eraserheads, so therefore I fit. So I'm launching two books, both from the playlist series. The first of which is playlist 4, Songs You Come Back To. So it's Son and Alice, bassist and actress, second chance romance, provinciano kids, learning to be somebody that people can count on, and fighting for your dream. So Son and Alice first had their start in a short story called One Certain Day. It's part of From the Heart, which is an anthology of love stories set in provinces in the Philippines. So that's up on Amazon if you want to get in on it. It's not required reading, but if you want to read it, thank you so much. So in that story, Son and Alice are basically teenagers who were naglalandian sa puntod, but sadly did not really get their happily ever after. The Songs You Come Back To is their journey towards that, finally. The next book I'm launching is Playlist 5, Songs to Your Beat, which is Nino and Santana. So that's drummer and water treatment lab engineer. Nothing in common. Your music is meh. Your science is oh my god. Forgiving oneself and taking the leap. So Nino, for his part, had his super short story when we were doing write breakup songs about. So it's called That Thing Called Closure. So it's essentially Nino and his ex trying to say goodbye properly, whatever that means, without hating each other. Also not required reading, but if you want in on that, I should probably drop the link around here somewhere sometime. So Songs to Your Beat is Nino picking himself up and trying again. So that's it. That's 2 books. Both are up on Amazon. Songs You Come Back To and Songs to Your Beat. Print versions should be available soonly when we're out of this thing we're into right now. I'm going to tap out now to a song by the Arctic Monkeys called Old Yellow Bricks. I hope you like it. I'll see you soon. Thank you and stay safe.
Songs You Come Back To by J.E. Tria. All Saints' Day. One of their town's biggest celebrations besides Christmas if Son's family had any say in the matter. The day his brothers and cousins, aunts and uncles came from wherever they were to cook together and gather around his uncle's cement box tomb for a day and a night of vigil and gossip. To Son, however, it was Alice Day, a day he reserved exclusively for hanging out with her, their chipped plastic seats, elbows side by side, and bags of chippy deemed their small world complete. It had been that way for the past 2 years since the first time when it was Son's happy surprise to see her there sitting guard on her grandmother's grave, as he was for his uncle's. He had thanked the universe and gave himself an ultimatum. If you don't talk to her now, you skinny doofus, this long-term crush will eat at you like your childhood dreams of meeting Masked Rider Black. And you don't really want that, do you? Since then, it had been their one certain day. A left turn and a few meters down from the bridge in the stinky river, and they were standing in front of Alice's house. Son watched her turn the key in the gate, remembering that their errand was to pick up the food basket her aunt had forgotten. It was a critical task. The pimiento sandwiches and tins of butter cookies were essential for cemetery vigil survival. The food should never be left behind. Midway through opening the gate, Alice stopped and twisted towards him. So, what's your news? His thoughts on the seriousness of sandwiches zoomed right out of his head as a bigger thing took its place. Yeah, well, about that, it's not really news. It's more like a payment of overdue debt. He told her he had something to say earlier in the cemetery before they were sent out on this errand. He'd been looking forward to this throughout the bus ride home. His news, his payment, his long-delayed gift was finally ready. And now, even as he downplayed the words and tempered his nerves, Son had begun hopping where he stood. He sucked in a breath and released it. I finished the song. What? Really? Yeah, belated Merry Christmas. His cheer matched Alice's excited squeak. Okay. She giggled, a soft sound, a joyful whisper more than laughter. Man, if only he could capture it in song too. I'm in a band, he had insisted to her last All Saints' Day. He meant to make her a song as both proof and a Christmas present, but it was so difficult. It took him ages. There was only so much of what he couldn't say in words that lyrics and guitar riffs could contain in his song. And it took him a while to accept that. You could just say it, you know? Was his recurring debate with himself. In a proper conversation, with actual words, only he couldn't. Because speaking out could ruin things, couldn't it? And he couldn't have that, not now, when he and Alice were finally friends. He wasn't going to be the idiot who lost her because of a surprise confession. Friendship over feelings was the rule, wasn't it? He accepted this somehow. And besides, he wasn't brave enough to dare. Let me hear it, Alice demanded, the shining eyes on her upturned face making him falter. Son shuffled his feet, hesitating. The throbbing in his chest was building to a drumbeat. Hey, don't we need to get those snacks first? Because Carlo looked ready to bite off his mother's arm. No. Song first. Okay, song first. Easily swayed for her, that he was. Son fished his music player from his shorts pocket, uncoiled the cord and plugged one earphone into Alice's ear, then his. He fumbled with the play button, swallowed a breath, and that was the last of his nerves. The song, his song for her, his first ever, opened with the crisp sound of steel strings commanded to life. Sharp plucks assembled the rhythm he had carried around and stoked and unraveled and put back together in the past months. On the third roundabout to the first note, a voice launched the words. The voice was deep and scratchy in places, and it was his. Alice's hand landing lightly on the chest of his shirt told him she knew. She knew it was his. Son grinned, caught her fingers, and sang along. I would have taken your hand, asked for that first dance, but knowing me and my problem with chance, I would have missed calling you. My baby. Oh. This. This was how he was gonna say it. His feelings out loud, hidden within verses and rhythm. This was how he was letting his one-sided hopes and enduring crush go. It wasn't the first step he'd taken, not the most affecting, but to him, it was the one that mattered most. The last strum fell and the song ended. And in a moment that felt too wide, yet awfully insufficient, Alice broke her hand free from his grip and pulled his head down for a kiss. It was impossible, that kiss. But he felt the softness of her lips and the warmth of her whiskey breath, felt her fingers get caught in his curls and tug on the wiry ends, and it was real. Infinite. Promising. Too real and too much. She gave a soft sending his nerves exploding, his brain crashing, heat and cold mingling in the pits of his stomach, and in the next second, her lips on his were gone. The kiss done and broken, leaving him with a thumping in his chest that hurt, and a coldness in the new space between them as Alice stepped away. So cold, despite the afternoon sun beating down on his skin. Son was not a guy to be lost for words. He could never shut up. It was often his problem, but the bigger problem was that he didn't say the most important words to the person whom they mattered most. As that surprise kiss had demonstrated so well. He didn't take the leap when he could, and now he couldn't. Gone as he was in a choice of his own making, none the wiser on how to come free without causing further harm. What a wild lesson to learn at this moment. He blinked and saw the spark in Alice's eyes wane as his silence lengthened. He knew the extent of this general messed up fuckery was that to say he liked her forever and that he wanted the kiss. Yes, please, more and thank you. He knew it was no longer allowed. Not now when he was urged by good conscience to confess a different set of words. Son gulped down a breath, eyes flicking upwards and catching curtains flap on the upstairs window. A fresh shot of panic added to the vice-like cold already paining his chest. Was that Alice's dad? And did he see the kiss? And how long do I have left to live? Fuck, I'm only 18 years old. He grabbed Alice towards him and pulled her under the shelter of eaves, away from the prying eyes. Not too tight, Alice gasped, words muffled by his shirt. Son's hand closed around her shoulder, holding her to him, feeling the end of a line. Alice, there's a girl. Songs You Come Back To by Tria.